Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video here at Moto Explorers 555. My name is Pedro, and I'm just going to ask you to follow and subscribe, and if you like the video, don't forget to give us a like. But on today's video, I am going to be fitting the top crash bars on this Honda CB500X. So in my previous video, I fitted the lower crash bars, and then the reason I didn't fit the top ones was because I was trying to figure out wiring for these spotlights. So I did figure out the wiring for these spotlights, and that is something I'm gonna have to show you in another time. They are not really, they're not difficult to fit, the ones that have only two wires, but until I figured that out and managed to connect them, time went by, and I'm gonna have to fit the top crash bars because I need to start preparing for the ABR festival. So if you don't know about the ABR, it's the Adventures Bikers Festival, and loads of bikers go there. It's a weekend of camping, and loads of bike manufacturers go there as well, and you can have a ride in new bikes and whatnot and go to the trails. It's quite a nice weekend. So I want to prepare my bikes because it's the first year I will be doing a trail since I passed my license only last year. So the previous year I went to the festival, but I went on my Honda 125 because I didn't have a license, and my 125 is a Honda Rebel, which is more like a chopper style kind of bike, which is not really good for any trailing. So this year I'm going to attempt to do one of the trails, and if for any reason I did drop the bike, I just want to save damaging fairings or whatever I could save, and this is one of the reasons why we fit these crash bars. So I've got the lower ones, and now I'm going to fit the top ones. So this one goes on this side, and the one I have there goes on that side, and then they become sort of one piece. You join them together with this here. Well, that just goes really in here, and then it goes on the other one. Now these two holes here, they will go up here in these two holes. So I've already removed one of the nuts and bolts because I wanted to just check. These are a 12 mil, so this is loosened as well. I left it loosened so I can show you. They were not difficult to undo. Once you undo them, they just come out quite easily. So 12 millimeters here, and 12 mil socket and spanner will remove this. And then the other part of the bar will actually go in here, and there is already a bolt in there which came with this frame, but we might need the longer bolt considering we are going to have this attached to that as well. So it's quite a long bolt that goes there. And by the way, this whole kit came together. The lower and the top crash bars came together in one box from China. So they are not the ones that you may have seen, which are of specific make. So I mean, I'll be giving them a try, and hopefully they're gonna be okay. So for the top crash bars, I got all these bolts here. So these are the bolts for the bottom, and I'm assuming that these two here will replace the original. So this is the original that came out of there, because it will be a little bit short by the time you put this. This will increase the width of that section there, which means this might not be long enough, so you get these 2 bolts, and these bolts are of type of Allen key there. So the Allen key for that is a 6 mil, and that is a 13 mil for this. The original bolt, as I said, is a 12 mil. This extra bolt was in the kit, and I'm not sure where it goes or what it's for. It seems to these kits from China come with, sometimes have an extra bolt or extra couple of nuts and bolts, and they don't appear to go anywhere. I don't know if they are like spares or something. I just don't know because the kit doesn't exactly come with instructions. It did come with a leaflet, I must say. I'll have a look at that leaflet in a minute. And these bolts use an Allen key size 8. So obviously all these Allen keys and socket sizes and whatnot, they only apply if you have the same equipment. But I would assume that pretty much all of these things will be similar in different makes and stuff. So right, let's get cracking. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to loosen that bolt there. Also, I had to move my light a little bit because it was sort of interfering with the fitting. So once I fit that, I will put my light back up here. So I found the instructions. The instructions do show me that there is an extra bolt here, number 8, shown in there, but it doesn't exactly, in the actual instructions, number 8 is not shown. So I'm just gonna have to assume that number 8 is not being used at this time. But it doesn't really seems to be needed. So I've got number 4 and 5 here. 4 and 5 is the one, this long one here, and the nylon locking nut there, and the little washer. So actually the washer is number 5, but the nylon locking nut also with a washer, it's also shown here. That's number 7 and number 6. Which is a little bit odd. I mean, it's showing you here the correct washer, which is number 5, the small one, and then here it says number 6 and 7, but number 6 is a bigger washer, which is this one here, which wouldn't really fit in there. So anyway, the instructions are not great, but the good thing is that it's not really that hard to figure out how it fits. We're talking about 1, 2, 3 nuts and bolts. That's it. So what I want to do first is I want to grab one of these, and this is the one that I already removed, and I'm just going to put it in that hole there. That's where it's going to go. So just temporarily put it there, and then I can also remove this nut here. So I just want to avoid, I'm not sure if this frame is going to move a little bit. It might move a little bit when we remove the bolt, but obviously I can't fix this yet because I need to pass it through the other bar. So just once I get the bar on this end, I'm going to sort of take the bolt out and refit it one by one. That's my plan. And I've already loosened this one here, and there is a spacer in between the engine and this frame, by the way, so that may fall out once you remove. That's the spacer there. So we'll remove the bolt, and that will come out. Now these big washers on these bolts, again, I just realized they wouldn't really fit because this bolt has to go through this hole in there, so that huge washer wouldn't really fit, so that needs to come out that way. And I don't know even if the small washer that was the original would fit. No, it's too small, so that needs to go in just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and fit that. Right, I just got my bar in there temporarily. Just it's kind of leaning on that bolt, and so I can then line it up here and obviously get my big bolt. And you're gonna need the washer to go through here. Oops, that came out. So yeah, definitely need my two hands to do that. So I think you can tell what I'm doing. You can know what I'm doing. I'm just putting that through there together with the spacer. Okay, so my Allen key, this bit here is too short. It doesn't go into that hole, so I had to go and find another Allen key that actually fits. So that can be one of the problems to encounter. Also, by the way, if you look at my wiring here, it looks a bit dodgy because it's a little bit exposed, but I'm just waiting for some what's it called, masking tape, so I can tape the wires properly. So for the time being, I just got it like that. Anyway, it looks like so the crash bar is going to be like this. There is plenty of room here from what I can see at the moment, if I needed to remove that. So my concern was that every time I want to remove that, I may need to remove that. But it looks like in this case scenario, there is room to remove that fairing without having to remove this. So that will be good in a way, because when I do the wiring, I want to connect other spotlights as well somewhere up here. And to do the wiring for those spotlights, I may need access to this section yet again. So anyway, this is what it's beginning to look like. And of course, that's where it's going to screw up there. That's gonna be fitting just there, and this little thing is gonna fit here where the other bar is going to go into, and the same sort of procedure will be here. I just need to release my spotlight, take that off and get it on. So I'm just gonna get on with it, because I think you can see what I'm doing and sort of understand what is going on here. So just a quick thing here, I had to remove the top bolt as well to make it to make it easier to fit the bolts, but when you remove it, the frame goes a little bit out of sync, so you just need to push on this center area up a little bit. If you push it up, it sort of lines up again. So that frame there, this frame here, is sort of connecting to the front area. If you look at it if you look where it's connected to, it's actually connected to this frame here, which sort of holds all the bits up there, the lights, the electrics and whatnot. So when you take the 2 bolts out, it moves down a little bit, but you can just push it up a little bit, and then that will allow you to fit the bolts in. Everything is always a bit of a fiddle, but what can we do? It is what it is. So that's in place. Now again we have the washer. Get your little washer in there. And then you may have to press these bars a bit so you get a little bit of room for your nut. Right, so the nut is caught and the top bolt is not coming out now. So there we are. So you may have to press on it so you can put your washer and nut. So just one thing to consider here, I just added a little bit of Loctite to this bolt. So I got it out from there again, now that I got the center all lined up. But I could have done this before, but I'm just gonna do it now because also I didn't want to tighten the bolts until I had everything sort of lined up a little bit. But maybe worth considering some Loctite because those there's so much vibration on these areas as well that maybe it's a good idea to have some Loctite. But I think maybe it's just individual choice, so I'll let it be your decision. I'm just gonna put that spacer in there and push that bolt in. Okay, just got my bolt in there. Now we can tighten this. So I haven't tightened the center yet, but I have tightened it a little bit, but not enough, so there's enough movement for things to sort of settle in properly as we tighten them in. Also, for example, this bar here, it might interfere with my light, so I may need to relocate my light slightly. So that's the things when you try to fit spotlights and you haven't yet figured things out properly. Also because depends on the type of brackets that you have, and maybe I can adjust that at that level and then just bring the light up and try to get it straight. Just things to consider. Now this is a bit short for me to turn it, so I'm gonna get a small bar so I can tighten that bolt and do the same on the other side. Okay, to tighten these 2 bolts and nuts here, I actually needed an Allen key as well to fit in there because my actual tool is a bit too big, so it doesn't fit. The Allen key that I've got originally for that with the actual ratchet doesn't fit. So I'm using a spanner and the Allen key there to tighten. Oops. And the other thing I was gonna say is I have tightened these obviously with the added a little bit of Loctite. You can, if you have an Allen key like this one that is a bit short, you could use something like that in order to get some leverage to tighten it. So that's quite a big spanner there. It's almost the size of of my ratchet that I originally used to remove that bolt, it wasn't that tight. So I don't have official torque settings that they use for these bolts, but as I said, they were not in that tight. The original bolt was not in that tight, so that should hopefully be tight enough. Plus with the Loctite, it should keep it in place, even with the vibration. But so far this is what it's looking like. I just need to tighten, so I just need to tighten the two in the middle here, but this is already quite solid from tightening the sides. I sort of relocated my light a little bit in there, you can just see. So that's how it sort of comes on. So obviously I have to do the other side, and it is illuminating down there, so obviously you have to adjust it accordingly. But anyway, I think as far as fitting these bars goes, this is what they look like. They don't look too bad. I actually like the way they look. They don't look too bulky, but I can see that if the bike was to fall down, this might hit the floor anyway, which is why we have these bark busters fitted, and then this section obviously will fit. I'm just gonna switch this off so I don't get dead battery. But yeah, these bars will protect sort of the engine. These bars will protect these fairings here, but there is some bars I think come a little bit more here, so I don't know. I guess it just depends on the make and whatnot. This seemed to be okay so far. So as far as fitting them, that's pretty much it. So don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next video. If you have any questions and I can help with anything, do ask and I will try to help you. If you have any suggestions as well of other crash bars, or if you actually have used these crash bars from China and if they're good or not or bad, no idea, but you can let me know. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch up on the next video.